Hello, how's it going? In today's video, I'm covering the siege of Shattrath and the destruction of Auchindoun from Chronicle Volume 2. So let's go! In the weeks after Karabor fell, Velen was pretty upset. He'd been plagued with visions of apocalypse. A red sky over Shattrath with poison raining down that twisted people into monsters. Thousands of Draenei men, women and children cut to pieces, and the city itself consumed in a blaze of fell fire. Understandably, he wasn't a big fan of this. He still questioned the validity of his visions, but he wasn't going to take any chances. At first, he was going to call for a full evacuation of Shattrath, but then he thought, nah, that'll just postpone the inevitable. The Orcs will just keep chasing us. So he and his followers agreed to another plan. The civilians would flee to safety, but the military would remain. They would sacrifice their lives to make the Horde believe they'd succeeded. And although the Draenei soldiers were like, oh, great, cheers mate, they didn't shy away from this duty. Velen vowed to be one of these defenders. He was willing to die to protect the city and his people, but the Exarchs were like, nope. The city was doomed, and if the Draenei had any chance of survival, it was with Velen leading them. They argued about this for an entire day before Velen decided, alright fine, I'll stay alive then. With the Horde now marching on Shattrath from the throne of kil'jaeden, Velen and the Exarchs made their preparations. The Prophet led many civilians to TELREDOR, a temple on a remote island in the Zanga Sea. Rangari scouts harassed the Horde front line, slowing their approach, and Vindicators shored up their defences in the city. As the clans neared their destination, kil'jaeden appeared in ethereal form. He wasn't bothered about hiding himself from them anymore. There was no point. He explained that he was one of the benefactors that had given the Orcs these new powers, and then he taught them a new warlock spell, Fear, which basically just makes your opponent run around like a headless chicken. Meanwhile, Gul'dan unveiled a new weapon that he and his Shadow Council had been working on. They'd combined their magics with the Red Pox to create a plague. The Shadow Council had loaded this mixture into bombs which the siege engines could fire at Shattrath, and that's exactly what they did. The bombs exploded on Shattrath's walls and released a foul mist that burned Draenei's skin and choked the breath from their lungs. A red fog enveloped Shattrath's battlements and shrouded the approaching Horde army from sight. The Orcs flooded through breaches in the city's walls and wreaked havoc. Warlocks summoned fiery green meteors from the heavens. These smouldering rocks arose as enormous demons, known as Infernals. Murad, Akama, Nabundo, and thousands of Draenei defenders stood firm. I mean, I imagine they were a little bit nervous, but their intentions were clear. Take as many Orcs with us as we can before we be dead. However, some refugees were still in the city, so Murad and his Vindicators rushed to assist them as they fled. Although the Holy Warriors didn't want to leave the fight, they knew the importance of saving innocents. However, they didn't really do all that well. There was blood everywhere. It was pretty gross. It didn't take long for Shattrath to fall. It had been the Horde's costliest battle. Many Orcs lay dead amongst Draenei corpses, but they had won. However, Gul'dan was still troubled. Velen had bloody escaped again. kil'jaeden will be furious. So he immediately dispatched Garona to hunt for Velen. She's going to spend years searching for him, but she'll never find him, so don't worry about it. A number of Vindicators, priests and Rangari who had survived the attack had retreated to the tomb city of Auchindoun. Exarch Maladar organised them and they fortified the catacombs, awaiting the inevitable attack. Gul'dan was aware of this and was a little bit concerned that the Draenei would call upon the spirits of their ancestors to assist them. So he sent Terran and his most powerful Shadow Council agents to prevent this from happening. They stormed Auchindoun and kinda regretted it. Their warlock powers were powerful, but so were the Draenei's light-given abilities. Out of sheer desperation, Terran and the remaining warlocks pooled their power and reached beyond the veil of reality. They wanted to summon a demon into the world that would strike down their enemies. But it weren't no demon that was summoned. An otherworldly elemental creature called Murmur appeared, and he was all like... The shockwave of its arrival caused a massive earthquake, and that killed many Draenei and kinda destroyed the tomb. The destructive energy spilled out of Auchindoun and levelled the surrounding forests. Maladar and a handful of Draenei used their magic to shield themselves from the blast, but they no longer had the numbers to fend off the Shadow Council, and they were captured. The Shadow Council then contained Murmur in Auchindoun, or the remains of Auchindoun anyway. A few warlocks stayed behind to stop it from escaping. The charred, lifeless land around the tomb would become known as the Bone Wastes, and would serve as a bitter reminder that the Draenei had lost. And we're leaving it there! In the next Volume 2 video, we'll see the effects of the Horde plague, the Orcs do a bit of housekeeping, and the Arakoa come back into the story. As always, a special thanks to those of you who have become patrons. If anyone wants to support the channel in that way, links in the description. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!